You're listening to the Business and BBQ Podcast, hosted by Tim Herridge. Tim Herridge is an active entrepreneur who built and sold 6 companies by the age of 40 and enjoys sharing the ups and downs of business and entrepreneur life. As for the barbecue, that's just something he has a passion for and likes to share as well. Here's your host, Tim Herridge.
All right. What's cooking, everybody? Tim Herridge here with another episode of the Business and BBQ Podcast. Today, we're going to talk about matters of the mind. Now, I'm not a psychologist. I'm someone who has struggled with being properly motivated at times. I'm someone who has let other people's negativity bring me down. When I'm at my best is when I'm positive, energetic, and spreading enthusiasm. I recently bought a course from Dean Graziozi and Tony Robbins. Now, I'm not much of one to participate in product launches or infomercial type sales, but right now I'm 3 or 4 days into this, and it's been one of the best courses I've ever taken. It starts off talking about your mindset. There's just a lot of things that I needed to hear again that I already knew, but I needed to hear them again. So far, it's been good. I couldn't wait to share it with you. So stick around. We're going to talk about matters of the mind from my experience in the Marine Corps, my most recent experience with this online course, and from 20 years of trial and error as an entrepreneur. Stick around. We'll be right back. Today's show is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering our listeners a free audiobook with a 30-day trial membership. Just go to audibletrial.com/TH and browse the unmatched selection of audio programs. Download a free title and start listening. It's that easy. Go to audibletrial.com/TH to get started today. Welcome back. So today I want to talk about mindset, and this isn't one of those mindset things where I tell you, oh, you can do anything you want to do. This is more mindset about what you allow into your mind and what your preconceived notions are. Recently, I bought a Tony Robbins and Dean Graziozi course about creating masterminds, and the course really has done a good job. It's always interesting when you can get someone like me to spend 10 minutes doing anything, much less hours upon hours doing something. I think it's a good indicator. So I found the course from John Lee Dumas, the host of Entrepreneurs on Fire podcast, which is probably my favorite podcast out there right now. I listen to it every day. He interviews different entrepreneurs every day. Highly recommend you check it out. His website's eofire.com. So he had Russell Brunson, the founder of ClickFunnels, on his podcast, and then he had Dean Graziozi, and then he had Tony Robbins. And I find it fair to say I'm just not a big Dean Graziozi fan. I wasn't before this week, and I really wasn't that big of a Tony Robbins fan. It's kind of funny. Tony Robbins said this in the course already. I'm just not much of an infomercial kind of guy. I don't like product sales. I don't like scarcity. I like abundance. And it was interesting that I signed up for the live webcast about masterminds, and I knew that they were going to offer something. But I'm in this interesting point in my life where I've sold a couple companies, and I'm really just trying to figure out what's next for me. And I've always enjoyed masterminds. When you go back in my history, the thing I love the most about being a HomeVestors franchisee was the network. The thing that I loved the most was being involved with the other franchisees at meetings. I loved the most the camaraderie. I liked the competition. It was all really invigorating for me. I didn't like the fees and stuff like that, and so we won't talk about that. Then I started the REI Expo. The REI Expo, a very interesting thing. The whole reason I started it was I missed the HomeVestors annual convention. And missing the HomeVestors annual convention was all about hanging out with people, networking, etc. So fast forward to the expo, and it became this, I fed off the energy at the event. I fed off the camaraderie. I picked up little tidbits and things that made my real estate investing business better. And so when I sold the expo, I was really busy with B2R, had a lot going on, and now I'm in this place where this time 2 years ago, I had 20 something employees running around. And now I'm in this place where right now I'm recording this episode from my new home office. Well, it's a temporary home office while we add a second story to actually do a really nice home office. And it's just been funny. I've been looking for something that would resonate with me, something I could be passionate about. Dave Ramsey said that The magic is finding it when it's one thing to have talent at something, right? I have a lot of talent at buying houses. It's another thing, I believe, to have a passion for something. So for me, the talent's great, but it's the passion that I was lacking in running those bigger companies because I just don't have a passion for it. I don't have a passion for showing up at an office and telling people what to do. That's not what I want to do. So I've really been looking for kind of that passion and purpose. I always like helping people. I always like networking with people. And so I was on this live webcast last week. Tony and Dean had this mastermind. It's like mastermind.com. Check it out. Well, they were selling this course and I took the plunge. I bought it. And it really has already, number one, I'm now a fan of Dean Graziozi. Number two, I'm now a fan of Tony Robbins. Number three, there's a big lesson in there to be learned about closing your mind off based off of the way something appears and not giving it a chance. But anyway, I digress. The whole thing is about the self-education industry and how we as a society now are moving towards self-education. And I resonate with that because if you don't know, I don't have a college degree. I graduated high school out of summer school because I had an attendance issue. And, I went to the Marine Corps out of necessity, not desire. And so I found it funny that Tony and Dean's stories are very much the same as mine. And I think I'd written them off because probably a bad experience I had with someone else's course. And because that's, if you've ever heard my story, the way I got into real estate is I watched a late night infomercial and I bought a box of books and tapes, and they came there and I opened the box and it was all confusing. I never listened to anything. I shoved it in the door. But from that experience, what happened is I started going to local networking groups and real estate investing clubs, and those real estate investing clubs changed my life. So I think I am a great example of self-education. Now, I've done a lot of things wrong. I've done a lot of things right, and I have learned by trial and error, but that's the beautiful thing. When you're just reading a book or just watching this video or just listening to this podcast, you're limited to one person's opinion. You're limited to one person's point of view. You're limited to impact of negativity. It happens all the time. I like to solve the world's problems. So a lot of times I end up talking with people that may not have everything together. They may not be doing good business. And it's funny for me that I end up kind of going down that negative slope with them. So for me, this mastermind thing just came at the right time. So I bought the course, and the first module is Tony Robbins talking about mindset. And here comes that negative attitude again, right? I start listening to the audio and it's, you got to get your mind right. And I swear, all of a sudden, I start checking out. Well, this was on Saturday this week, and my wife got up and took my son out to Canton First Monday. It's a big flea market in East Texas that's only open on First Monday. And my oldest son had some things to do. So I found myself sitting at home on a beautiful day at 11 o'clock with nothing to do. So I sat out on the back porch. I said, I'm going to give this guy a chance. And I start listening to the Tony Robbins stuff. And when you go through the peaks and valleys of being an entrepreneur, of being a real estate investor, of being a parent, sometimes I don't think we realize how much negative junk we let into our minds. Sometimes I just think that it gets out of control, but not out of control like we're running around doing bad things. It's just, it's a progression. It's one step at a time. And before you know it, you're actually believing things aren't possible. You're actually believing that things will never work out. You're believing that the business has failed. You're believing things that probably shouldn't be in your mind if you're going to be running a business or parenting. It was interesting. It's been a really fun experience so far with this course. I'm about halfway through it. I'm blowing through it. I've found what I want to share. And if you're actually listening to this, we're going to be making a mastermind available soon. And it's going to be different than any mastermind you've ever been to. It's going to be different than any mastermind that I've ever been a part of. It's going to be for investors by investors, and it's going to be focused on rental property. It is not going to be focused on fix and flip. It's not going to be focused on wholesaling. It's going to be focused on creating wealth through real estate, because as I sit here today, I've made millions. And, I hear a lot of people on the wholesale network talking about how much they did. We did over $1 million last year in wholesale. We did over $1.3 million the year before in wholesale. This this year, I don't know, I think we're at 350, 400 already, and we're about to hit the fast, busy part of the season. But that's just a dealer business. It's you're in, you're out, you're in, you're out. You got to find another widget. You're in, you're out. You got to find another widget. If it wasn't for my rental property, I'd get all the way out of this business, the real estate investing business. But my rentals excite me. I bought a rental this week, and man, I love that house. It's worth $240,000. I bought it for $160,000. Probably gonna spend $20,000 on it, and it'll rent for $2,200 a month. It's a great property. So rentals is where it's at for me. So we're gonna create 2 or 3 different masterminds. One mastermind is gonna be for less than 10 people that own less than 10 houses, and the other is gonna be for 10 to 100, and we may even create 100 plus. But the point is, there is nearly 15 million single-family rental structures in the United States, occupied by nearly 50 million people. All estimates are that there are more than 5 million landlords in the United States. There's estimated to be less than 50,000 active house flippers, whereas there's only 30,000 flippers. So I think there's a lot more people that are interested in the rental stuff. But I'm not here to talk about the mastermind. So we're going to start a mastermind for landlords. We're going to help make their portfolio bigger and better. That's the whole purpose behind the mastermind we're going to start. But I want to just talk to you about mindset. It's just amazing how much my life has changed since I got rid of the negative influence. And I'm not even talking about people. I'm talking about environment. I'm talking about going to an office in traffic that I can't stand. I'm talking about some people. I'm talking about some businesses that were always taking from me and not giving back. So I think as you're listening to this, as you're watching this, I just encourage you to take a quick inventory of your life. And what are the things that you're doing that aren't creating value in your life? And I don't even mean money. I mean, are there things you're doing out of repetition or habit that don't provide value to you or your family or your why? And in this course, there was a grading scale. It said something like, have your value and your return. So if you're talking about recording a podcast, right? How does it fit your values, right? So I'm really passionate about helping other people because, like I always say, I came from nothing and I like to help other people kind of achieve that American dream. It's something I enjoy. So on a 1 to 5, that'd be a 5, a podcast, because I feel like I'm helping people. The next 1 to 5 is how much money does it make you? Well, right now, podcasting would be probably a -3 because we're not making money, we're spending money, but we're spending money, and I believe that it's going to provide an ROI down the road. So the whole point is you'll find there's a lot of things you're doing right now that you either need to outsource, delegate, or just eliminate altogether. And that's what I found. And I even had a conversation with one of my business partners this morning that I said, I'm making $2,000 to $3,000 a month cash flow. And it's nice, but it's a headache. And I'm spending 3 to 5 hours a week on this business, and it's just not worth it because it also doesn't fulfill my passion. It's a business I'm in only because of the financial upside. It's not a business I'm in because I'm passionate about it. It's not a business I'm in because I care about it. It's a business I'm in just for cash, and I don't like it anymore. So I'm actually in the process of trying to sell that one too, because for me, and it's doing great. I mean, like all the numbers are like that, right? Everything's going up, but we're in the 14th month of operation, and I mean, it's throwing off $10,000, $20,000 a month on different months, and I mean, it's great, but there's overhead, there's expense, there's headache, there's thought around it. And then there's negativity. I mean, I started my day off at 8:30 calling her to let her know I was unhappy. And for me, that then put me in a bad mood. And then I started complaining to my wife, and she's like, shut up. Well, she didn't say shut up, but I don't know. I mean, I think that a lot could be said about what we do, what we allow into our mind, what we allow into our days. So I'm trying this format out. Next week, we're going to have Jeff Tennyson on. Jeff is the CEO of Lima One Capital. Jeff is, more importantly, an entrepreneur. Jeff has been involved in billions of dollars of real estate transactions. Jeff has been involved in large company sales. And I always give him this credit. He's the person that showed me you can be a good person in life and successful in business. He's a really great guy. I can't wait to bring him on. But yeah, I think in the Marine Corps, we always said mind over matter. If you don't mind, it don't matter. And I think that rings really true for business. And it rings really true true for when you have problems, because problems are inevitable. They're going to happen. And I think it's important that you deal with, right? And you don't let them drag your mindset down, because it's when you let problems dictate your life, that's when I've had failure in my businesses. That's when I've had failure in my personal life. That's when I've failed as a father. My youngest son yesterday at jiu-jitsu was clowning around and got in trouble by the coach. And I walk in, and when I'm there, right as I walk in, my kid's in front of the whole group crying and apologizing to the entire jiu-jitsu team. Well, I asked him afterwards, I said, what was going on? He said, I was clowning around. So he was being disrespectful to the coach. He was clowning around. The coach didn't like it. So the coach punished him and he had to do a bunch of burpees and stuff. And so it's interesting, though. I talked to him about focus. I talked to him about his mind. I said, you got to get your mind right. When you go to jiu-jitsu, you're there for jiu-jitsu. You're not there for playing with your friends. And I think part of mindset is being where we're at and not it being like fully there. I text my wife before this episode. I said, look, I'm going on airplane mode. I'm about to record a podcast. And I do that because I need to be able to focus, right? I can't have my phone going off. Can't have my computer making a bunch of noise. You got to be able to focus. I'll say this. To me, there's three things. And we're going to talk about those three things right after a quick break. Start collecting more leads in minutes. Not only do I use HubSpot's free CRM, but I also use their free marketing tools. Start turning visitors into leads today. Sign up for free at HubSpot.com/TH. With HubSpot Marketing Free, you'll have everything you need to convert more visitors into leads. Sign up for free today, and it's free forever. No contract or credit card required. It's a risk-free way to see what inbound marketing can do for you. Start turning visitors into leads today. Sign up for free at HubSpot.com/TH. You've got to have a positive attitude, no matter what. I'm telling you, I have been in countries where people were starving. I have seen death. I have seen a young man that was willing to be shot at to get a cracker from me in Indonesia so he could feed it to his sister, right? So whatever you're going through, I'm here to tell you, buck it up. I mean, it could be a lot worse. Now, I'm not saying that we don't have problems, but let your problems go. Find God, find religion, find meditation, find something. But what you can't do is sit around and mope for yourself, right? And I'm just telling you, if you're struggling with depression or sadness for longer than a week or two, go to a foreign country, go to Africa, go to Indonesia, go to South America, and look at how those people live. And it'll really help you out. So positive attitude. Walk around with a smile on your face. Be nice to people. That's all it takes in this world. Be nice to people. The second thing is surround yourself with people that are where you want to go. They say that you're the sum of the 5 people you hang around the most. So take inventory. Look around. Who are you hanging around? Are you hanging around a bunch of millionaires or a bunch of hundredaires? Because if you're hanging around a bunch of people that have less money than you, you can almost guarantee that you will regress to their level. Now, I'm not saying that you can go hang out with a billionaire, but find someone that at least has the same goals as you do this year, right? Find someone that is pushing themselves, someone that's learning, and immerse yourself in education, immerse yourself in a positive environment of people that are more successful or just as successful as you. Other people that are driven. And you'll find that your results change rather drastic. It's been pretty interesting for me. And the last thing about mindset is I heard on a TV show or something the other day. It said people are like phones and computers. They need to be rebooted every now and then. And man, that rings so true for me in this modern day society where I got the new Apple XS, right? And everybody loves the Apple XS. But man, I mean, it's amazing how many people they want to they default to where it gives you all these notifications. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's just too much. So, I mean, look, I just held that up there. And like the only 2 notifications on here are actually an email from my wife. She gets VIP treatment, obviously, and a Twitter notification about something Joel Osteen posted because I like Joel. If you get any negative notifications on your phone, like kill it now, like be done. For me, Joel's always tweeting something positive, and I love that positivity just sprinkled into me throughout the day. I mean, what is this one? This one is, don't discount the small things. It may seem small, but God knows how to multiply. Be inspired by this message from Joel. I like those notifications throughout the day just go right back to number 1, right? So, but you got to unplug. Even those you find a day every week, find a night every week where you unplug, where you chill out, where you do something that brings you joy. I mean, right out here behind me in the rain, you know, I drive a tractor back there. It makes me feel, it's just something I unplug from. I turn the phone off. I leave it with my wife. You gotta unplug. So like, and recharge, right? That's the thing. Because it's hard to have a positive attitude if you're not sleeping and if you're beat down. So my 3 things, and I'm going to leave you with this, I'm almost out of time, is have a positive attitude. Surround yourself with like-minded, positive people that are going somewhere and preferably going the same place you are. And last but not least, you got to take a minute for the good stuff, right? You got to take a minute to unplug and recharge. And that's kind of my thing with barbecue. But the thing about barbecue for me is it's just something I enjoy. And it's something that tomorrow, if you're in the Dallas area, join me at Heim Barbecue. So tomorrow we're going to Heim Barbecue in Fort Worth. They've got a new store on the river. They've got their old store in the Riverfront District, but now they've got this like cool store on a river that I've never been to. So I just hopped in the Business and BBQ Facebook page, posted a meet and eat, and said, hey, if you're available, come join me, meet me up at 11 o'clock on Thursday. And you know, there's things I need to do. There are things that I could do tomorrow that will be more productive than driving to Fort Worth. Now, I've planned my day around that. I've made sure I'm going to look at a house in Irving and then Grand Prairie, and then I'm going to Fort Worth. I'm looping back around. Don't get me wrong, I'm going to be productive, but it's just something I've wanted to do, and I just decided to do it. So, and I'm meeting other like-minded people. I'm meeting people in the Business and BBQ Facebook page. So think about it. Well, tomorrow I'm going to be around people that want to network and be positive. Tomorrow I'm going to be around people that are like-minded, that like business and like barbecue, right? And I'm going to be unplugging and just chilling out a little bit because it's a place I've wanted to go there. I love it. And I'm going to bring my kids back some food. It's going to be a great day. So, and that's on a Thursday, right? I'm not saying you got to unplug on Sunday because that's the Sabbath. Like, look, your thing's your thing. For me, barbecue is this detachment from my stress. It's something I love. It's something I enjoy. And it's really what barbecue's always been in this journey for the last 8 to 10 months. It's a metaphor for life. It's a metaphor for having more of what you want when you want it, not living for someday, like living for now. So that's all I have today. I'm glad everybody listened. Until next time, keep cooking.
Thanks for listening to the Business and BBQ Podcast. Make sure you check out our other episodes and stop by timherridge.com to say hi. We want to hear from you. Until next time, keep cooking.